Linda was still a little puzzled when we walked through the door separating our garage from the kitchen. I threw 4 bags with expensive store logos on the kitchen table. "What's going on, Chris?" Linda asked for the 50th time. "Is this an anniversary present?" I smiled and walked over to the kitchen table. Earlier, I opened a bottle of Linda's favorite Merlot. He pulled the cork out of the bottle and poured a glass for each of us. We clinked glasses in silence, after which I handed Linda her glass and took a step towards the kitchen table. I reached into the Victoria's Secret bag, pulled out a turquoise set of home clothes, and said, "Tomorrow morning, I want you to choose 5 more beautiful sets of leisure clothes and pack them in a suitcase." When Linda frowned, I showed her the cute blue bikini we had just bought. "I got your summer clothes from the attic. Please go through the drawers and find 5 more beautiful swimsuits. You will need 5 outfits similar to this one." I was holding in my hands the shorts and summer blouse that we bought at Macy's. "And 5 dresses like this." I rummaged through the last bag and pulled out a short navy blue dress that perfectly accentuated Linda's figure. "Chris, you are welcome. What's happening?" We take off early on Sunday morning, arrive in Miami, and immediately embark on our cruise ship to make a 6-day anniversary cruise with visits to 4 ports. Happy first anniversary, sweetheart. But what about work? I fixed everything through Mary a month ago. "You're on vacation, sweetheart." Linda screamed joyfully and threw herself into my arms. Her arms wrapped around my neck. Sunday morning at Bradley Airport. We settled into our rather spacious business class chairs and prepared for the first stage of our vacation. Linda turned to me and said, "I can't believe you talked me into leaving my phone at home. We're on vacation, baby. Let's forget about Connecticut and just enjoy each other's company for a few days. People don't need to see the pictures of us drinking tequila in San Juan." "I know, and I'm not complaining. Do you promise to check your phone every morning for urgent messages?" "I told you I would, but my phone will stay off for the rest of the day," I replied. Linda put her arms around my head and gently pulled me to her. She kissed me, and we enjoyed the moment while our plane left the dock. Sunday afternoon aboard the Caribbean Star. I'm sure the view from our cabin window was amazing, but most of all, I was glad to see a happy Linda. We planned together how we would spend the next week, discussing excursions and walks on the beaches. Monday afternoon at San Juan Beach. We walked slowly along the water's edge, holding hands, enjoying the view of the ocean and the soft sand. Linda was wearing a green bikini, which suited her very well. We found a secluded spot on the beach, spread out a towel, and just sat next to each other, enjoying the sun and peace. Sometimes she would lean over to kiss me on the cheek or just rest her head on my shoulder. Tuesday evening aboard the ship. The dance floor was filled with 20 or 30 couples. We hugged each other tightly, dancing a slow dance while the pianist sang one of Frank Sinatra's favorite songs. "I'll have to go to the gym twice a day to burn all these wonderful meals and drinks." I grinned and said, "You're beautiful just the way you are. Don't think about it. Just enjoy your vacation." Wednesday morning at dawn. I smiled as I looked at my wife sleeping next to me. There was no need to worry about packing her beautiful outfits, I thought, as we slept together every night, hugging each other. Linda's body was beautiful. Over the past 3 days, she had developed slight sunburn marks, and they looked great. The upper part of each breast began to turn bronze, while the lower part remained light. Her stomach was toned thanks to the hours spent in the gym. I got out of bed and went to the bathroom without disturbing Linda. After completing my morning routine, I sighed and turned on my cell phone. The phone was in silent mode, so no notifications, alarms, or calls would have disturbed my sleeping wife. As in the previous 3 mornings, my phone was full of messages. I quickly scrolled through the 38 text messages and deleted each one as I watched. I didn't count the number of emails. I checked several work-related ones and one from my lawyer. I left the rest unopened. My voicemail was completely full. Since I was using my phone for work, I checked every message and deleted the ones with the same urgent message for Linda so that she would call home immediately. Thursday afternoon in Nassau. Over the past few days, we have met several times with Jerry and Ellie, as well as with Roger and Sue. Each couple was a few years older than us. We ran into them when we were looking for food in Nassau. Together we found Pat's, a hamburger restaurant by the sea. The chairs around our table were swings suspended from the ceiling by ropes. Everyone took a swing. I was sitting in the middle on one side, between Ellie and Sue. Linda was sitting across from me, surrounded by Jerry and Roger. We spent a very pleasant 2 hours at the Patsa. We ate, drank, and talked about our lives. As we were paying, Ellie asked, What are you doing tonight? We have a table reserved at a nice steak restaurant on board the ship. We haven't decided what we're going to do after that, but we've been discussing the possibility of going on a comedy show. We've heard that it's very good, Linda replied. Roger joined the conversation. We won't be offended if you refuse, but would you like to come to a party with us tonight? We sometimes have parties for adults. Both couples were looking at us with impatience. I admit, I was a little shocked and was already making up a polite response when Linda spoke. Thank you for the offer, but this is not for us. She reached across the table, took my hands in hers and continued, I only care about my husband. Both couples reacted to this with understanding. We spent another hour with them shopping in the tourist area and finally returned to the ship together. Friday afternoon on the ship. When the pool bartender brought drinks for Linda and me, Linda asked, You're not in a very good mood. Are you sad because your vacation is coming to an end? I took a long sip of the fruit drink and nodded. Tomorrow is a return to reality and everything related to it. Linda reached out from the chaise longue and gently nudged my shoulder. Hey, stop it. We have a good life. Everything is fine, my love. After a few minutes of silence, Linda said, I've been thinking about something. She looked at me to make sure that I was listening to her and continued, I know that we initially decided to wait a few more years before having a baby. Do you think we could discuss the possibility of rescheduling this deadline? I smiled at my wife. What prompted you to do this? I've been thinking about the baby for a long time. The thought of having a family makes me happy. How long have you been thinking about this? I asked. Linda shrugged her shoulders and confessed. Intermittently, for a couple of months now. May I ask why you haven't talked about the baby yet? She paused and then said, There has been tension between us in the last few months. I didn't know what the problem was, but I thought it wasn't the right time to talk about the baby. I could feel Linda looking at me, but I waited a bit before continuing the conversation. For me, it was more than a strain. It seemed to me that you were moving away from me and I don't know how to put it correctly, but it seemed to me that there was a distance between us. Oh, Chris. Linda jumped out of her chair and sat on the edge of it. She took my hands in hers and said, If that's how you felt, why didn't you say anything? I told you. I've asked you 4 or 5 times. Is everything okay? You brushed off my concerns and said you were worried about work. The last 2 times, you cut me off angrily. Linda took a deep breath. I'm sorry. For the next few minutes, we sat side by side in silence and sipped our drinks. I know that a cruise is an anniversary gift, but is there more to it than that? Yes, there is. In fact, much more. I was afraid I was losing you. So I thought if we left and reconnected, things might get better. When we looked at each other, I saw tears in Linda's eyes, and I suspect she saw anger and disappointment in mine. I sighed. This week has been wonderful, including this difficult conversation. There's no reason why our life at home can't be the same. I know we don't have a beautiful blue ocean and dancing every night, but we have each other. We were halfway through our drinks when Linda said, You still haven't answered my original question. I had to think a little bit before I could smile at Linda and say, Yes, when we get home, we can talk about the baby. Let's talk about a lot of things. Saturday night in Connecticut. As our limo pulled off I-91 south of Bradley Airport and headed west on I-84 toward West Hartford, Linda asked, Where are we going? I want to finish our vacation in a big way. We'll have dinner at Fleming's Steakhouse. Oh, Chris. It's so cute. Linda leaned over and snuggled up to me. I'm tired. Can we just go home and order some food at home? Dinner at Fleming's will be the end of our vacation, and I have something special planned. Linda was exhausted and, I think, more than a little annoyed, but she didn't complain. I've booked a private table at the back of the restaurant. We sat in the corner at a high-back table, and the decorative tree was strategically placed to provide us with additional privacy. After the drinks arrived and we clinked glasses, I said, I promised we'd talk about the kids when we got home. Linda opened her eyes wide and smiled broadly. Really? Do you want to talk about it now? Can you think of a better time? Linda leaned back in her chair and held back the tears that threatened to run down her cheeks. I took a sip of bourbon and said, I never have. Never. I won't have a baby with you. While Linda was looking at me in complete confusion, I nodded to the man who was standing so that Linda couldn't see him. He came over and asked, Are you Linda Harrington? When she nodded, he continued, You've been served. The man placed the manila envelope in front of Linda. In conclusion, he said, Enjoy your meal. Linda was visibly shaking, and her eyes darted between the envelope and me. What's going on, Chris? What the hell is going on? I've filed for divorce. I hope your 4-month affair with Kyle Jackson was worth it, because it ended our marriage. Oh, my God. Oh, Chris. It was a stupid, idiotic, drunken mistake. Maybe the first time it was a drunken mistake. During a business trip to Detroit? Right? Maybe. Maybe we could get over it. Were your weekly meetings with him a drunken mistake too? You said it yourself, Chris. This week has been perfect. Our life together could be just as perfect. I know it's possible. Please forgive me. Please, I'm begging you. Linda, yesterday you asked me if our cruise was more than just an anniversary gift. I told you it was much more than that, and it was. For the last few days, I wanted you to immerse yourself in my love, so that you would always remember what you had and what you sacrificed. I want you to remember what a good person you shat on and flushed down the toilet. Please, Chris, let's go home and talk there. I shook my head and told my upset wife. While we were away, my brothers and their families took all your things out of the apartment and took them to your parents. Your family? My family? Does everyone know? Why did you do this to me? With much more calmness than I thought possible, I replied. You cheated on me for almost half of our 1-year marriage, and you're asking such questions? We can fix this, Chris. I know we can. You can go to your parents or find out where your friend lives. His wife kicked him out of the house and filed for divorce. Did you tell his wife? How could you? They have 3 children. I laughed at that comment. Let's finish this, Linda. I'm tired and I want to go home to my new bed. When she looked at me questioningly, I replied. I wasn't sure if you were at our house with him. I bought a new bed in case that happened. I would never. I think she realized how stupid her denial sounded, so she didn't finish the sentence. Here's what I'm offering you. Hire a lawyer and review the agreement. All assets are divided in half, except for the apartment. She was mine before our wedding. You have 2 weeks to sign the documents. And if I don't sign? And if it doesn't? Do you remember a month ago when I asked you to give me your Facebook password? Linda nodded. In the morning, when we left the cruise, I logged into your account and changed the password. Now you don't have access to it. If we can't come to an agreement, I'll post the correspondence and photos with your new friend. Everyone will see what you've done to me. I continued. As soon as you sign the documents, I will return the old password. I took another sip of bourbon and finished the glass. Before I finished, I paused for a moment to chew on a nearly melted ice cube. A limo is waiting outside and will take you to your parents, if you want to go there, of course. My car was left in the parking lot. I stood up and threw $100 bill on the table. I looked at Linda and said, I loved you with all my heart. I'm sorry that wasn't enough. Please don't call me. Don't write to me. All I want is to be left alone. I turned around and hurried out of the restaurant before the tears started flowing.